I'm just gonna ask you to remind me that I didn't hate this when we look at the sequels. Remind me that I didn't hate this, that I didn't hate this, I didn't hate this, didn't hate this, didn't hate.
Hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Dr. Leviathan, and here today.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for Eve.
Who's always here.
Well, there was a few years before.
Yeah.
You had to make up for lost time.
I'm pretty sure I've got seniority on this.
That's true, yeah, that's true. And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have...
Why Dr. Leviathan wasn't on the last episode. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Bedtime 4. Something wicked this way comes. So, for those of you just tuning in, creepypastas are short internet stories that get copied and pasted across the internet, whether it be on wikis and Reddit, no sleeps. You've heard it all before. If you haven't, go Google creepypasta and look it up.
Or listen to our previous episode.
Exactly.
They're fun. Not necessarily for the whole family.
But they're fun, regardless. And yeah, we're doing Bedtime 4. My God, we've survived 3 of these so far. This is done by Michael Whitehouse, who actually sent us a comment on the last couple, saying that he enjoyed our critique, that he agrees with some of the critiques we've given him, and that, yes, he's confirmed that the Bedtime sequels were all an afterthought.
More importantly, someone's listening to us.
Yes.
That's what I took away from that.
Yeah.
We got listener. Only one.
We've got a few.
I can't even talk my girlfriend into listening to us.
Oh. And yeah, you can check this out at creepypasta.com. You can check this out at creepypasta.wiki, or you can hear readings of it on YouTube. One in particular, Creepypasta Junior. I'll leave a link in the description below where this gets posted. But we will jump into the rundown, which is probably going to be really quick because
Not a lot happens in this one.
It's really well described, but not a lot happens in this one.
There's a lot of words?
Yeah.
But not a lot of events.
Yeah, it's a pretty small... Again, much like the third one, it all takes place over the course of a single night. So, the rundown for this one, the story continues from the end of the previous installment. Go check out episode, whatever we did for Bedtime 3. I can't remember, man. It's probably like 130, 132 maybe.
You didn't look it up before you left the house?
No. We're a professional, damn it. Anyway, yeah, so you can check out the previous installment, but it pretty much ends off with him waking up the next morning after drinking heavily and being to recover from an attack from the creature in his car.
You were trying to do recuperate.
Yes. Recuperate, apparently. Anyway, and getting the creepy, or the bitten toy soldier as a message, a definite message that shouldn't ever, doesn't have to be interpreted at all. It's just a straight up message and a warning to him.
I fucking hate army men.
Yeah. His girlfriend comes home and the narrator lies about the previous events.
Half
try. Tells him that he's been writing these stories about his childhood nightmares and stuff like that, but doesn't tell her about the actual, legitimate supernatural encounters he's been encountering in the modern day.
And it's less of a half-truth, it's more of a lie of omission.
Yeah. So that night, the creeper, my name for the thing that's been stalking him, appears to be targeting the girlfriend this time. There's a fight/struggle on the bed as it attacks her, and he's trying to fight it off. It leaves at the end of this fight, but not before taking a fistful of the girlfriend's hair and leaving her bleeding and confused. Shortly thereafter, she thinks our narrator is the attacker and leaves him. The narrator writes down the story that we have just read and prepares to kill it or die trying the next night. Will he succeed? Tune in next installment. The end? Yeah, so that's pretty much the rundown. The reason I didn't, because there's a lot of description, but it's really just describing, like beautifully, very simple, or very short, scenario.
Yeah.
Of a single night.
And brief synopsis of the previous stories.
Yeah. And again, go listen to those. Yeah, so my thoughts for this one, I've got a handful. First off, I learned a new word. Again, prized. P-R-I-S-E-D.
Yep.
I know pride, but I never knew that prized was actually a
I also looked it up, and it really comes down to British versus American.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, it's I saw like where its origin is like Middle English. It's like, okay, that makes sense why it's not as common in my vocabulary. And then so that was the again the first thing first paragraph is like, I'm just gonna have to go look that up. He mentions nothing was stolen, and then again, more thoroughly, a paragraph down. I think...
he does straight up lie to her, because he tells her there was a burglar.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. That's just straight up why, yeah.
Yeah. That's not a half-truth.
It could be described as a
That's
white lie.
That's not a half-truth. That's not a live omission. That is a straight-up lie. Fabrication.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the things I have is,
or a fib.
Yeah. He mentions that, nothing was stolen, and then immediately mentions it again, a paragraph down. I really feel like it didn't have to be mentioned twice. Like, it could have been left out the first time, and just explained when it was explained more thoroughly when he was going through his house to find out if anything was missing. It's kind of a nitpick because he does mention that nothing was stolen in his immediate area when he finds the burglar or the window opened and the claw marks and stuff. But it just seemed like, all right, you've already told me that nothing was stolen, so why are you going? Yeah.
See, my question is why mention it at all? We weren't, it's not a burglar.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking it was a burglar.
Yeah, exactly.
Check your hamburgers. Are they safe?
Although the character was trying to rationalize.
Yeah, he still, after all this, he's still trying to rationalize. Oh, there's got to be... No, you're... Yeah. I do have a quote here. So... I could only hope that whatever that fiend had been in the back seat of my car the previous night, that it had only wished to frighten me one last time and then be on its way. Hey, Mikey, your theory about it being just like needing a lift and then going on its way might be true. At least up until that point of the story, and then we realized that no, it's...
Well, Mikey wasn't the only one hoping for that or thinking that.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I just thought that was... I was like, oh, hey, Mikey's theory is kind of coming true a little bit. Oh, shit. And then I have one of the... See paragraph 6 and then paragraph 9. Sounds like he's interpreting a message... Oh, yeah. So, in paragraph 6 and in paragraph 9, he's like... in paragraph 6, he's like, I got this... I could tell that this toy soldier was a message, and not anything else to be interpreted or explained. And then in paragraph 9, he goes along the lines of, trying to interpret the message. You guys know what I'm getting at, right? A little contradictory. Yeah. Just a smidge.
I don't have to listen to you, I thought, listening intently.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just... So, once again, with these stories, the middle section, or the bulk of the description and narrative during, the creepy, encounter and, the scuffle and stuff like that really grabbed me. I really enjoyed some of the creepy moments, visually, as described on the page, or on the website, and in my head. It translated really well for me. Such as the part where the creeper is behind the curtain and then tells him, seemingly from behind him, to look behind him. As well as it's when it's in a chokehold from behind, it twists its head right around to stare straight at the narrator's face. I thought that, the way he describes it was really fun for me, as a creepy moment. Because it's also it's staring straight at him like Exorcist style, while it's still holding down Mary's face into the pillow. It's such a creepy moment where you're just oh, you're fucked. Yeah, just visually I liked that. It's mentioned in Bedtime 3 that the narrator has a girlfriend, but in Bedtime 4, it's explained that they live together, and we get kind of felt, I don't know, it kind of felt like it was forced, like the whole, like, that they now suddenly live together, and that, like, this is the first time we're hearing about that, when it really wasn't insinuated in the last one.
In defense of the story,
yeah.
She's never been a part of the story.
Until now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it would have been, like, completely extraneous information at that point. But at this point, we need to know these things.
That's true, yeah. And it is, like, the kind of the main plot, like, because it's, like, this is definitely the... You can kind of see this going in. This is the story that essentially breaks the character into, like, realizing he has nothing left, and now he's going to deal with this monster or whatever at the end. You can kind of get that early on in the story.
Oh, yeah, from the fucking get-go.
Yeah, really. And it was nagging at me while like, there was this nagging vibe about that while I kept reading, but I had to keep going because I had to move forward. So yeah, like I said, the middle part and the action are really well described for me, and build up like atmosphere and like tension, and the action. But then the girlfriend's departure is just glossed over way too quickly. Like, why didn't she call the police if she apparently thought that her boyfriend of 2 years is suddenly assaulting her to the point where he's ripped out like tufts of hair and causing her to bleed and whatnot? Or more importantly, why isn't our narrator calling the fucking hospital? To get she it literally says like this part where it's like my girlfriend like turned around, it's like I'm going, and it's like, and then I wanted to fill in the blanks like to the hospital. Holy crap, I'm bleeding. Like it doesn't. We just don't get nothing. Like, it's just like she like within a paragraph or two, she's suddenly just out of the picture because of the encounter. Like, and it's just because of the
typical thing that we faced many times on the show.
Yep.
It's that hurry up ending.
Yep. It's just fall. Yeah, and I even say that in my notes. It just falls into that trope.
I want to finish writing this now, before I go to bed, or before I go to work, or before I blank, before I have to stop, as opposed to stopping now,
take your time,
coming back to it when you have more time.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. The guy who wrote this, and the guy who wrote, like, the guys who wrote, or girls, who wrote every other story where this happens. Yes, they're not writing for their job, or at least they're not writing creepypastas for their job.
No,
So, it's something that they have to do when they get the chance. But you have to, you have to take your time with it. You can't rush through the writing, because then the writing suffers. And I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely...
It's very apparent in this one.
Yeah.
As well as it has been in...
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it in the last one, but yeah, until it was brought up when we were discussing it. But yeah, it was definitely, like, reading this one. And maybe it's because I've started actually, take notes while I read, rather than just reading the story.
That, I discussed this with my girlfriend, because in the story it says they've been living together for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So we can assume that they were dating a year, 6 months before that. Yeah. Regardless, their relationship is years old. And I actually discussed this with my girlfriend. I was like, okay, so if in the middle of the night you thought I had randomly, like, violently assaulted you, not to the point where I'm, like, breaking bones or, like, crushing organs or anything, but really just, surface
yeah.
Assault, scratches, whatnot, would your instinct be to either A, call the cops on me immediately, or B, talk to me, find out what's going on, hear my side of the story, because, I mean, it could be night terrors, or C, leave immediately, but not call the police, because I'm clearly not dangerous.
She literally says, like, I'm not going to call the police, but if you try and contact me, then I will.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's, like, you've been together for at least 2 years. I mean, let's say they met and the next week they were living together. Okay, they've been together 2 years. I assume, because it's not stated, so I am assuming that there has been no violence from him towards her throughout that 2 years. Because... that's the way relationships usually work.
Yeah.
And because it's not stated otherwise, I'm going to make that assumption.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Just attack.
Just attack. I will not deny the viciousness of the attack, and it definitely merits a reaction.
Yeah.
However, you're not just going to assume, you're either going to talk it out, or discuss it a little bit,
or at the very least, call the cops.
Or you're going to go to the other extreme and just be like, I'm fucking out of here, I'm calling the cops, you're a danger to society.
Yeah.
You're not going to go in that nice, pleasant...
I'm leaving you now.
Right up the middle, I'm leaving you now, we're not talking about it, but I'm not calling the cops. That zero consequence.
Yeah, and that's
zone.
The problem, in this scenario, there should be a consequence. He should have... I would like to hear that description of, him having to deal with that shit.
They should either be talking it out,
yeah.
And he has an ally for his
or he sent
next
her...
encounters.
He's just sent her away.
Yeah, that would have also worked.
Yeah.
Which, again, could have come from the conversation.
Exactly.
It's just
so glossed over so poorly, it just kind of ruins the ending.
Exactly.
It literally just I need to get this done because he needs to be broken. He needs to have lost everything he cared about. We had the tin soldier in the last one. Now we have to lose the girlfriend, and so he will be broken enough that he is going to go. He is going to be a doomed man to go face this supernatural entity and try and kill it. It was going good. In that bolt, I liked that main section, the descriptions of that and the scenario up until the girlfriend just reacts that way and just leaves.
It was, again,
I need to go.
Hurry up ending.
Yeah.
And it just kind of immediately just takes you out of the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah. Also connected to this, I'm beginning to get, I kind of got this a theory of my own for this story is where, it's a what if idea. What if the creeper is all in the narrator's head, and he's been hallucinating the whole time, and so the creeper, he thinks he sees the creeper.
So, if it goes in that direction, that is so very telegraphed.
Oh, I know, yeah. It almost seems
you can see it coming a mile away.
Yeah,
especially in this. Story.
I really hope. Yeah, exactly.
The only problem with that, and if Bedtime 5 doesn't already exist, and
it does. It's already done.
Well, regardless, I'm calling it now. The problem with that is the first story, where when his parents were in his room, 3 days later they moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is definitely some kind of menace in that house that followed him. And it's not just him.
So if they do go that route, because, I caught that too, I'm pretty sure, Mikey.
Yeah. Yep. So we all caught it. Okay, good. I'm not alone.
It's not, and you're not imagining things.
It's not sleep paralysis, guys. No. Well, it might still be. God damn it.
It's sleep paralysis walking?
Aliens?
Yes.
Yes. I'm totally down with that. If this ends up turning aliens, I'm not saying it's alien, guys, but it's aliens. I'd actually be kind of interested to see how Bedtime 5 extrapolates that this supernatural entity otherwise is just an alien. Maybe that's why it looks so emaciated and semi-humanoid. Anyways, I'm just bullshitting out of my ass right at that point. So, anyway, that was my thing. Also, the windows. I had one other thing about the whole why it's all been in his head and shit. He describes the claw marks as roughly done as a razor blade thing. I was like, what if there's actually just razor blades? You just go to fabricate it, but again, it's more or less that's stretching.
And that's also actually probably would they be that fine? Because razor blades are fine.
Yeah.
Whereas,
they look like jagged razor blade claws instead of...
I would think that it would be more akin to a pocket knife or a kitchen knife. Because it would just, it would be wider.
Also, it was just a really specific description of of that. But yeah, so that was my theory on that, or my little theory for the story for this little series. And he has actually he did all of them as an afterthought, and they're already out, all of them. So,
or are they?
I don't know. We'll find out in the fifth one if it actually ends. One way or another. But also another thing about the midsection, because I just really liked the midsection's description and shit. I was really getting a serious Lovecraftian, I can't describe the unnameable horror, as he's describing seeing the thing through the little peaks of in the curtain and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Also just the style of the writing for this one, it felt very much like a Lovecraftian writing a letter, narrator is writing what he has encountered, and he's going to go face his doom at the end.
Alright, but here's the flip side of him not being able to describe what was behind the curtain.
He describes it.
No. I was picturing Dobby, or Dobby.
Yeah, I was kind of doing that too.
The entire time.
Just a little bit elongated, or just like...
No, just Dobby.
I mean, Dobby's not a bad description for it. Like, it kind of looks like Dobby.
But he's not scary.
That's true.
Unless you give him a sock and then he's like, I don't fucking listen to you anymore, I'm gonna eat your face!
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so it's just like the whole like love, the way like again like I saw Lovecraft in something weird. It made me smile. But I am interested to read the next one, like the final installment, presumably, and see what plan this guy's cooked up to kill this thing. Because he again at the end of this one, he kind of just like, I've come up with a plan.
He's about to go John Rambo on this
like
bitch.
Well, here's the thing, because we have time dates, stamps. He got up in the morning and was attacked by the creature at 4. His girlfriend left him at 5. It's 9 o'clock now, and he's written the story and is sending it out. He's got a plan cooked up for the next night. I'm ready to go. It's like that's a pretty quick order of like you just like Home Alone like
he's got like 10 to 12 hours to put this into action.
Yeah, and I am kind of interested to see where that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much my stuff for this story. My notes for this one. So, Mikey, do you have anything more to say?
Well, we already talked about prize and pry and all that wonderful stuff. There was an unneeded the.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah, I skimmed. I went past it because it's just a typo. But
he didn't catch it through grammar.
Yeah.
That's when he was looking at the curtain.
Yep.
And raising my right hand slowly, I accidentally touched the fabric of the curtain, causing a subtle ripple which parted them momentarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah. And then the other comment I have here is about the girlfriend, that she's not really fully realized. Like...
Again, the series has kind of a history of cardboard cutouts.
But, like, she was there, and then she has a line, "What's wrong?"
And then
suddenly, it explains, like, Mary has an incredible caring nature, and she immediately lay her suitcase and bags on the floor, sat down on our couch, and with her soft and gentle way asked me to talk about the whole ordeal. Instead of describing that, have the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've said this before in other bedtime episodes. This series has a history of just cardboard cutout characters that aren't the main character. And this one, again, this is another good example. It's like, again, she's described as like in those words, and yet contradicts that at the end where she's just like, she doesn't want to talk, she just wants to leave. Like, if she's that kind of person...
That's not a very understanding person.
That's a very shallow person that has like a shell of caringness and all that. And then when something real actually happens, she just ups and leaves. But I don't think that's what the character or what the author was actually trying to get across with her. But with the ending part, it just kind of comes off like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the whole issue where it's sort of could be all in his head type thing. Like, the more he thinks about it, the more it becomes real, and
like it's more like it's manifesting this personality, or this not even personality, but this like thing that's in his psyche or something like that.
Because he went years without thinking about it, started thinking about it, and then it's coming back. So that's the only stuff that I really picked out that hasn't already been discussed.
Yeah, I did kind of go hog wild with some of them.
Oh, that's okay.
Good.
Because you left me lots of my stuff.
Awesome.
Okay, first off, this one's a bit of a nitpick, but bedtime 4, something wicked this way comes.
Yeah.
Nothing comes except his girlfriend. And that is not a phrasing moment.
Yeah.
But, like, she's the only thing that arrives at the domicile.
Yeah.
It's already there. Is already there. The wicked thing is already there. So, it's a nitpick. He used it because it's a thing.
It's
that's
a
out
common
there.
term.
Yes, it's a phrase that is out there in the world, and that is just
not always
to
a bad thing,
To me, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, for this story, it doesn't make sense.
It's shoehorned in, and it's bad.
Yeah.
No
relation to the story.
Exactly. Because I mean, if you're gonna throw a subtitle on for a sequel, you need it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. They were dealt a crippling blow in the previous movie. Now they've struck back, they strike back. It describes the events of the movies without giving it all away.
Yeah.
This one is no help. Another really big problem I have with this with Bedtime 3 and 4, because
they are kind of the same. They continue on.
Here's the thing. Here is the problem I have with them. They should be one story. Yeah. Because Bedtime 3, there's a lot of build up and build up and build up, and nothing fucking happens.
Yeah. Until next.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
This one, there's a lot of needless words and a lot of exposition. Mm-hmm. But the story is, the bulk of this story, at least the bulk of what needs to be there, is the ramifications of Bedtime 3. Yeah. So it's so you got build up, no payoff, and then in this one you have payoff.
Yeah. It really is again that middle section.
But because they're two separate stories, it's wrong. It's off. Mm-hmm. It's not, it doesn't work for me, at least. And that's probably my biggest complaint with this, and in retrospect, it's also a big problem with 3. Yeah. I think I touched on that with 3, is that nothing really happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be fair, I'll concede that. It would make a lot more sense if 3 and 4 were just 3.
Another big problem I have with this one, and for me it's a big problem, not for me personally, but I'm thinking about everyone else in the world. For once. This guy has a thesaurus. And he loves his $10 words.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually surprised that when he was describing the lie he told his girlfriend about the burglar and how he bravely fought him off, I'm surprised he used a word like brave as opposed to valorous.
Yeah.
It was just so... he uses so many $10 words when, dude, simple, concise, common words doesn't mean you're an idiot.
No.
Doesn't mean your readers are idiots. It just means that you're more efficiently telling your story.
Yeah.
Just because I'm surprised you only had to look up one word.
I didn't.
And that is
not ignore. Yeah.
And that was not a knock at your intelligence or your vocabulary. It's just a matter of holy shit.
There was
this guy uses so many big, unnecessarily big words.
Yeah. There was Sakor.
Yeah.
Which I looked up, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's at least another one I think, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, there were some larger words in there. I was like, I've maybe heard of this, but I had to go Google it because just never heard of it.
Now that being said, the story is very well written, very well described up until a point. And I'm pretty sure, for me, the point where the hurry up ending starts is, the creature's on his girlfriend, it's attacking her, it's already ripped out his hair, or her hair, and he's, trying to fight it. And here's, I'm just gonna do the quote from the story. As its face touched mine, its eyes stared deep into me. Not even my reflection was returned. 2 looking glasses into a sanctuary for the dark, devoid of light, happiness, and love. It was staring as if it wished to say something, as if it was trying to communicate a simple idea to... Oh, wait, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry. Okay, so it hasn't ripped out her hair. Oh, damn it, where is it? With a wrenching, stuttered, and violent movement, it tore an entire fistful of hair from Mary's head, leaving behind an open wound. Then it was gone. Mary did not scream, she merely whimpered. I turned the bedside lamp on, but no words of... Where am I? I'm looking... Oh, this is pissing me off. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, right. Alright, here we are. So, with a wrenching, stutter, and violent movement, tore an entire fistful of hair from Mary's head, leaving behind an open wound. Then it was gone.
Yeah.
Then it was gone. That is, to me, where the hurry-up ending starts. Is because everything is beautifully described. Its motion, the way it moves,
and then it just
the way
vanishes.
It looks. Like, I can picture this motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's just gone. How did it leave? Did it just, like...
Yeah, there should be an extra, like, explains, like, I can't understand it. It just... It ceased to exist.
Did it cease to exist?
Yeah.
Did it fucking,
Puff of smoke? Smoke bomb it?
Did it go out the door? Did it climb out the window? Did it
we don't get
melt into the wall?
Which, again, would have been appropriate. But yeah, we don't... it's gone.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I understand. That's where...
I know what that means, but you describe in such detail everything else up until that point. Yeah. Everything. Like
we know exactly just how bad this thing's teeth are.
To the point where it's almost becoming criminal how much or how well he's describing things. Like, it's almost too much.
Yeah.
Because, and then just, nope, 4 words, then it was gone.
Yep. Yeah, that for me, that also is pretty much where it starts going. Just gotta get out of here. Gotta get done.
For me, it was like gone like a fart in the wind.
I pretty much just like it took the puff or it took the tuft of hair and then just like you just like suddenly a quick edit, like video edit of the scene where just
just a jump cut.
Yeah, a jump cut, or like where they just like they suddenly he was in that scene and then they have a scene where he's not there and suddenly just done.
Okay, and this next bit ties into like, and she left or she went to the hospital. The bed was soaked in blood.
Yeah,
like.
These are not
soaked in blood?
Like, these cuts were...
You keep on using this word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, because he describes the cuts as being just, like, small, like, cuts all over her body, and I get that. But they were gushing. And I was like, Jesus! Did he cut arteries?
I mean, like, okay, it pulls out a tuft of her hair, leaving behind an open wound.
I think actually...
Do you know how bad scalp wounds bleed?
I think I even mentioned in my notes that I didn't actually read. I even, like, to kind of describe that. The way I heard that, it almost sounded like he had just, like, straight up, like, partially scalped her. Like, because there's blood coming out of that wound, like a huge head wound.
Well,
I was like, that's a scalping.
Well...
or at least close to it.
Yeah. But just, it's like... The bed is soaked in blood.
Yeah.
She's just leaving, not calling the cops.
Or going to a hospital.
Yeah. Where they'll call the fucking police.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like...
and her reaction to, like, losing that hair, like, I guess it wasn't that bad, like, as bad as it was described a minute ago, because, like, she seems to not really mind that as much.
Now, this is also a symptom of the hurry-up ending, because it's inconsistent.
Yep.
And if he'd taken his time, formulated his words, the way he clearly...
has done up until
the way he clearly likes to.
Yeah.
Because, it's not until the ending where I started to have most of my problems with the writing. Mm-hmm. My other problem is the foreshadowing of the girlfriend totally not being in the picture for the next story.
Oh, yeah.
Is not subtle. It's completely heavy-handed.
He just straight up says that. It's like...
Well, no, but, like, he tries to foreshadow it earlier, and then just, like... And then he's like, oh, yeah, and then she left. And I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just so many word choices. I will actually find them because they are they're obvious. Okay, you know what? Never mind. That is too much of a nitpick because before it uses those wordings, it says that he was going to propose, but that has been bitterly taken away from him. So never mind.
Okay.
But yeah,
it does kind of foreshadow it doesn't tell you that she just walked away, left. It kind of insinuates did she die during the story?
Well, that's the assumption that you make because you're reading the creepypasta.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting the monster to have taken her.
Yes, but given everything else we've had in this story up until that point in the previous 3, that would have entailed consequences.
Yeah,
and we don't like to have those in bedtime stories.
We don't need no stinking consequences.
Which is, why we ended up with the ending we did, where she's alive and she's
just walked out on him.
Relatively healthy. Well, she didn't just walk out. I mean, she has cause, but it's not a normal human reaction.
Yeah, she just, I've got to go. My people need me. Also, you attacked me.
Where we're going, we don't need full heads of hair.
Wow. Alright.
But yeah, I don't think I really have anything else other than, and honestly, I could forgive so much of this if 3 and 4 had been one story, and if you would stop using $10 words.
Yeah. Because, I mean, sometimes it's good, but, sometimes, it's a little gratuitous, and
Exactly.
It feels like...
Every so often... It's acceptable. I like big words, and if you throw out a word that I have to look up, I'll be happy because I'll have learned something that day. Mm-hmm. But you're using them for the sake of using them. You're showing off. Mm-hmm. No one likes to show off.
Yeah. And this is the fourth story in.
And it's been like that the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting it to change. Yeah. But by God, if there's a Bedtime 6, it better.
Yeah, if the end is actually not the end of... But I'm pretty sure it literally does... I did kind of gleam at the very... how long... I did go and check Bedtime 5 to see how long it was, and I did see the end in caps at the very end of it. But who knows? It's a creepypasta.
How many Freddy movies and Jason movies and Halloween movies end with the end?
Or end with him clearly dying.
Maybe not any of those, but there are movies that totally get sequels that end with the end.
Yeah.
Or a definitive end. So, hey, it could happen.
Yeah. And if Michael Whitehouse has been taking the criticism to heart, hopefully the next installment will be an improvement.
Or hopefully the next thing he writes. Because,
Yeah, exactly.
This guy should still be writing. He's good at it.
Yeah. For sure.
He needs to rein in some of his...
Yeah, his description of horror, again, walking over to the curtain, having that creepy moment there with, where it's he can smell its breath on the back of his neck as it says, look behind you. That's a cool moment. And honestly, you know what's... I don't think I want to bring up...
that's another problem I have. Okay, so he's clearly sleeping in the same bed as his girlfriend, right? And it's on top of his girlfriend when he turns around.
Yeah. I figured
he miss that?
Honestly, I just figured it teleported, again, ghostly style, because this thing's some kind of phantom.
That's actually it's actually something that makes me really, really afraid that it's going to be all in his head.
Yeah, that's honestly another thing.
Because that's how he missed it. It wasn't there because it's never there.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought of as he was walking to the curtain, looking for that, because it doesn't just he doesn't just know that it's at the curtain. He gets up because he hears a noise somewhere in his room, some kind of indecipherable muffled voice. And honestly, when I heard that, I was expecting him to get to the closet or something like that, open it up, and his girlfriend's there gagged, and he's been sleeping next to the monster. Because the monster's one of those things that likes to snuggle and shit like that, right?
Wow. Okay, first off, you got there and I didn't. Wow.
Secondly,
that would have fit all of the lore up until this point, except for the lore breakingness of the third one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's been a couple of years. The guys, he can evolve a little bit. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, that would have tied in perfectly because, oh my god, that would have been just cause for the girlfriend to leave. Because,
Like, woke up gagged and bound in a fucking closet.
Yeah, and he's been, and that's honestly
I believe me over that.
When I heard the breathing on the other side, like it was like because he kept going back to, like, I can hear my girlfriend rhythmic breathing. I was like, just put a little bit of rasp in there. Just put a little bit of rasp. Come on. And then we got what we got, and I was like, oh.
You have actually made me hate this fucking story.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Because of what it could have and should have been.
Yeah, I know.
That being said, I don't hate this. My complaints with it are still the ones that I have, but
they're also...
that one is now added. Like...
Yeah,
that's exactly what it should have been, and that would have been.
I would have accepted that as an ending, like him, like wait.
I would have forgiven so many of my little qualms and problems. I mean, the little ones.
Yeah.
Those I would have forgiven for that story.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, a lot of your criticisms aren't really so much attacking the story as they're attacking the constant tropes and things that we see in a lot of these stories. Like, it's more or less the type of writing that goes into creepypastas. Like, again, rushed endings.
Yeah,
that can ruin a good story. And, like, that's the thing. Like, like, the story was good in the middle. The beginning was kind of shaky for me, and the end kind of falls apart. But that middle section was gold for me.
Well, yeah, the beginning was shaky because he was trying to stretch out what should have been in the last story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he would have had room for it in that story if he didn't use so many $10 words in both of them.
Yeah. But, yeah. Alright, I think... Is that everybody? Does everybody else
I
have
don't
anything
think
else to
there is really... I don't think there's any more.
Yeah, I think that...
Then again, you also just blew my mind, so...
Yeah, no, I forgot to add that to my notes, but that was the first thing... As I was reading that part, I was like... That came to my mind. I was like, that would be really cool if this happened. I meant to put that in my notes, but I'd forgotten until now. But anyway, yeah, so I guess recommendations for this one... I mean, if you're already, like, balls deep into the Bedtime series, I say give it a listen at the very least, like, from a reading, if you don't want to take the time to read it. There are some pretty good readings of it on YouTube, or just, suck it up and read it. But other than that, like, if you're just getting into this, like, the first one was kind of the best one out of this so far, and that's because all these sequels, as we've gotten confirmation, all the sequels have been kind of afterthoughts of the original story.
Well, exactly, and they're not contradicting each other, or, like, the first one has nothing to contradict it or to contradict.
Yeah.
So,
like, yeah, it's kind of a half recommendation for me, and only if you're, like, you've been following along and reading the stories with us.
If you want to improve your vocabulary,
that too,
read it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's something in here for you.
Yeah. Otherwise, like...
And if not, congratulations, you have an extensive vocabulary.
Yeah. Dr. Leviathan approved. And yeah, like, the only other thing I can think of to, like, recommend this one is... Like, that middle section was really good for me. Like, I really enjoyed those like, creepy, like, that creepy scenario. It's just, again, the beginning and the end kind of ruin it. So, yeah, kind of a tentative half recommendation from the cultist. Go listen to it at the very least. Or at the most. No, not at the most. At the very least. Mikey?
I'm also going to do a half recommendation, because, as Dr. Leviathan said, if you've read 3, then reading 4 finishes what 3 started.
Yeah.
So, there's that, and sort of, it leaves it you wanting to read 5 to some degree.
Yeah.
So...
really just to find out what this cockamamie, like, plan he's got cooked up to try and kill this thing that doesn't seem to have any weaknesses, aside from daylight. But, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things where if you're already this far, read it if you've read 3, so that you at least get the ending to the build-up that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it'll be interesting what 5 has in store, but it does sort of leave you wanting to know what happens in 5.
Yeah.
Just because...
of how it ends.
We'll hopefully finish the story, and everything will make sense, Hopefully.
I tend to be the most optimistic.
And 1 through 4 have been events happening to the narrator.
Yeah.
5, the narrator is actively going to try and affect the entity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always a nice switch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, again, it's a half recommendation based on how far our listeners have read, if they've read it at all.
And that's really, that's the issue, is that it's really conditional recommendations, because, I mean, if you've already started reading the Bedtime series, you might as well continue, or you might as well finish it, because there is some good stuff in it. It's just, there's also some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like my recommendation is pretty much going to be a rehash of, I can't remember exactly how I recommended, or how my recommendation went for 3, but my recommendation for this is very conditional. First off, I'd recommend the first one, because apparently I enjoyed it.
You told me to remind you.
I would not recommend any other ones past that, unless you want to learn how to describe.
Or how to build up a creepy scene.
If you are, if you're a fledgling writer and you want to, because the best way to learn how to write is to read, Michael Whitehouse just so good at describing a situation or a thing or a scene, and it's spot on. It puts you there without you having to use your imagination. But at the same time you do, because it's in your head, not his.
It definitely generates a really vivid theater of the mind while you're reading it.
He paints a word picture. Yeah. And but other than that, I've just there's so many problems with the narrative that I just can't recommend them past 2 or past 1.
Yeah. Because 2 didn't really break. Or 2 added on and had some wrong.
Yeah, 2 wasn't bad, but the problem with 2 is once you've read past 1, you kind of want to just finish. Yeah. And 3 is where
3 adds on. Some
3 adds.
It's kind of jarring to somebody.
It has the contradictions. To the lore that has been established thus far.
Yeah. And then 4, but then doesn't give you any real payoff at the end of the story. And then 4 is just the payoff from 3. So,
but and don't get me wrong, I recommend all of our listeners read 1 through 5 because hey, we're going to do them on the show eventually.
I may hold off until 5 for a little bit longer, but we'll be getting to
it. It will happen.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to happen in at least a couple months.
You cannot make me read 1 through 4 of these and then stop before the climax.
Yeah, that's true. I could do it, but it'd be a dick move.
Something wicked this way comes.
For me, if I don't do it. Yeah. But yes.
I'm still pissy about that title, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I always like reading those words, but if you're going to use them well.
Yeah.
Or properly.
Okay, so really just all-around tentative half recommendations, or conditional recommendations for this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was this week's episode. So, if you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at the E stands for Evil, Dr. Leviathan, and Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can also check us out on iTunes and leave us a review or rating. That would be cool with you. And you can check out the title cards for each episode at crazonstudios.tumblr.com. And if you would like to support the show, go to Patreon and look up Al Dente Rigamortis and choose the tier of patronage you'd like to support us at. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for Evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
notes ready?
Notes?
We're going. We don't need notes.
Well,
No, seriously, we actually need lots of notes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show.
Well, and your rundown
Yeah.
usually is good.
Sometimes.
Rundown.
This one's like super bare bones, like super short, because I was able to I did all my thoughts ahead of time, and then went into this one, I was like, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. We're done. Tune in next time.
yes, that's actually, trust me, I'm going to attack that fact with like a terrier.
All right. Fair enough.
Because I've got shit to say about this one.
Ooh.
They missed me last week. I was resting.
You might even say he was enjoying his bedtime.